Hello, you are connected to SNN Street News Now. We do this every Thursday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Also, make sure you go to our YouTube channel, SNN Street News Now. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and make sure you share. Also, make sure you catch us on Facebook Live. You're probably doing that right now. Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch. Our fearless leader, Lee Michaels, continues to be on assignment as we continue with the Masters of Intellectual Chaos, MICs, as we continue on, as we bring forth one of them, Dr. Ron Ford.
What's up, y'all? How you doing tonight?
Good. How you doing, sir?
Man, I am still alive, brother. I'm still glad to be here. Doing what I do, man. Doing what I do, man. It's a beautiful thing in the neighborhood.
Well, somebody's got to do it, so it might as well be you.
Might as well be me.
There you
exactly.
Go. Our next MIC goes by many names, but the past few times he's here, we embrace him at Seven. Seven, how are you, sir? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Well, Seven, I was born 7/17/57. The seventh month is always, something special to me. My youngest son was born 7/27/87.
Mm-hmm.
So seven has always played a something in my life, where it means something. I had an astrologer that was a good friend of mine. For some reason, I get along with them. And they've all given me definitions of seven and what it means in the astrological world and the planet and so on and so forth. But as I got into my 60s, I've become very forgetful. My short-term memory is just not that good. It's short-term.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You had to wait till you got into your 60s to start losing it?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna tell you. Actually, a short story. It started when I started taking pills to sleep. And that's when I couldn't remember somebody's name, or I'd be thinking about something. I could see it, but I just couldn't say it. Yeah. And so I've been taking this. There's something they advertise starts with an N on television, and it's worked really well for me. And so I'm getting a lot of it back, and I'm happy.
Well, good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
Also bringing forth Buck Wheezy. What's up, Buck? How you doing?
It's funny you say that. For that week that I went down to Alabama,
yeah,
it must have been a reason why I went, right? So if you're just tuning in, you never watched this before, don't know who the hell I am, probably not. That's okay. A couple months ago, maybe it's been almost a year, I don't know. But I got a job offer to go back to Alabama, a little small town, not where I used to work before. I used to work in Alabama's biggest city. Now it was like, a little small town, but I didn't care. I just wanted something to do. And I was like, everybody gave me shit about it. Everybody on this show and everybody I know. There had to be a reason why. And when I got down there, I happened to mention it to somebody that I was taking those sleeping pills every night. I was taking Benadryl. My cousin
Benadryl is one of them. Wow.
Yeah, my cousin suggested it. And the first person I mentioned that to, the program director, Mary Kay, she said, "Oh, that'll give you dementia." Dementia. So, okay, I'm not just going to take her word for it because she's just one person, right? She ain't no doctor.
Yeah, she's Mary Kay.
Yeah, I mentioned it to the engineer, one of the smartest people I know, John Matthews. John said, "Oh, yeah, that's true."
Damn.
How come nobody that I know knew that and would tell me? So I stopped immediately. But yeah, Mike, that's
what
crazy.
happened. Benadryl and that kind of stuff, man. And what is it? Melatonin?
Melatonin.
Yes.
Yeah, melatonin is all natural. Benadryl is a pharmaceutical.
Melatonin, same damn thing.
But let me tell you about melatonin. Melatonin, because I started taking melatonin too. And then somebody else said, well, or I read that melatonin, when you take it on a regular basis, it makes your body stop producing it. So you need it. And this is, I guess, any drug, you kind of develop a tolerance.
Like stop producing like children or something?
No, melatonin is a hormone that your body produces naturally. So usually when a person has a deficiency in melatonin, and they say they take a trip from, New York to LA, they have this thing called jet lag.
Mm-hmm.
So when you take melatonin, it helps you rest. It gives you a peaceful rest.
But you're only supposed to take it for a day or two and stop, and then just take it kind of as needed. But I was taking it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, mine was in the sleep aid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I was taking my sleep aid was it was Benadryl at first, and then there was another one. What was the name of that one? Anyway, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a antihistamine, but a strong one, and one that would make you more sleepy than a normal antihistamine.
Which I had a sleep aid one time named what'd you say it was? Ben or what?
Benadryl.
Oh, her name was Belinda. I'm sorry, got it.
She would sit on you, you folks.
I didn't say exactly what she would do. I said she was a sleep aid nosy boy.
Didn't take long, Chris, did it?
Yeah,
nosy boy.
She would F you to sleep, like Chris Brown said.
Yeah.
Didn't take long.
It happens.
Yeah.
I thought that was an excellent title for her. She was a great sleep aid.
I agree.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, I've had several of them myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so note to self, if you take Benadryl or sleep aids every night, you're going to get dementia, so stop it.
Yeah. What about if you take Belinda every night?
Then you might get, you may end up with a baby.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on how old she is. But I told my cousin, the one who recommended it, I called him up immediately. I said, dude, stop it. You don't want to get dementia. And he was like, thanks for the tip.
You know, and for the people who watch our show, we all have topics and we let each other know in advance. And this week I've been doing a lot of running and working on some stuff. And so when Chris, the moderator, asked me, I said I didn't know, but I do know what I want to, I think I talked about commercials on television have really changed. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk about the latest one, but just briefly.
Make it do what it do. So let us
You know what?
Yeah,
it's funny you said that because doo-doo has something to do with it.
See,
you're kind of like a mind reader, Chris.
Hey, man. Well, you talk about doo-doo. See, your shit coming out. So here we go.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Now we got to put up with this shit that they putting on television.
Exactly right.
Yeah. See how we brought that
here.
around?
We here. I see it.
Look, what a wonderful tease.
Yeah.
Like Belinda.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sleep aid.
Her big ass.
I should get her. Well, I don't even know where she is or I haven't seen her in a long time. But that would be a nice tag, Belinda sleep aid. I'm saying like a little thing she could wear.
Does anybody have crickets handy? Oh boy, I wish I had some crickets. I would so play them right now, just for fun.
Now Belinda's gonna call in, and then she's gonna be like,
well, see that's Buck
I
Weezy.
Still got a chance.
Don't fall for that. That's Buck Weezy just trying to get some information. He could like an investigative reporter. He made it look like well, that's boring and we shouldn't. But he want to know. He want to know more about it. He's inquisitive. Yeah.
Okay. Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah.
Okay. If she's not. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
See how he keep doing it. He trying to get that lead in. He trying to find out.
I'm gonna stop. I have class.
No, you don't.
Take the CL off. I think you'll be all right, man.
You in a class by yourself now. I'll give you that.
Hey.
No, you ain't.
Oh man. Well, speaking of inquiring minds, let's get into it. Dr. Ron Ford, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I've got an interesting topic that follows kind of the theme that I always like to talk about. Europeans, Europeans doing, other races bad. On this week, there was a big press following of the Pope. For those that don't know, who is the leader of the Roman Catholic Church. And they had a documentary that
Documentary. Come on.
Documentary?
You knew I was going to say something. Come on.
hey man, look, that's what I got you for, a spell check.
Yeah, I'm your secretary.
Right. They had a documentary on how the Indian nation had to suffer under the hand of the Roman Catholic Church.
The Indian nation.
Yes, the Indian nation.
Okay,
Indigenous.
right. Okay. Not American Indian, but
All.
Indigenous population.
Yeah, all.
all Indians.
Yes. But the documentary featured, in Canada, Alberta, Canada, and all through Canada, how the nuns and the priests would go down to the local tribes and just take the children and bring them back up to their, whatever school that they wanted to call themselves at the time. And they would brutalize the children, trying to make them, brainwash them to not follow their indigenous ways. Like they would change their languages, they would, their cultures and the things that, made them whatever tribe that they were from. They beat it out of them. They abused them. Now I'm talking about children. Okay, they child abused them. They sodomized them. They pedophiled them. Whatever they did, they abused them. And they did this for many, many decades. And they also did the same thing in the United States as well. And once this, film documentary came forward, everybody understand what I'm talking about, but then
I've never heard the word documentary ever in my life. I'm just saying,
on purpose.
It's a docudrama. How's that? Is that better for you?
It's a docudrama.
He's doing it on purpose. Just be funny.
So, but the information in the film was so traumatizing that the current day Pope agreed to go to Alberta, Canada, and throughout Canada, even in his illness, because he's sick, he's in a wheelchair, and apologize on behalf of the, Catholic Church.
The Pope's in a wheelchair?
Yeah. Yes.
And did you just say Catholic?
Yes, Roman Catholic. Yes.
Okay. It's Catholic.
Whatever.
It's it's a documentary. What is it?
Well, I'm from the south side of Chicago.
Documentary, man.
Documentary.
I'm from the south side of Chicago, so
I ain't got nothing to do with it.
Don't
blame the
say,
south side of Chicago.
I got a
just
southern
pronounce
drawl.
You're trying to start a riot in Chicago.
Exactly. Thank you.
I got a southern drawl. Okay.
I went to school with people from Chicago, and they went out of their way to speak well.
Well,
the ironic part is this Negro has a PhD.
I didn't go to that school. Okay. So it doesn't matter. But you understand the point of my story. Let's stay on point. That the Roman Catholic Church, a religion that was used to help when the Europeans began to go out and conquer the world, they were right there with them. They bought the Bible, and anybody who did not, study their Bible or already have knowledge of their Bible were heathens. And the only way that they were going to be civilized was to force their religion down their throat. And this was a form of an atrocity for, I'm going to say for 100 years. Okay. And, they had the same issue in the United States as well as the issue in Canada. But when this information came forward, then the current day Pope agreed to come and apologize to the tribe in Alberta for what was done to their children. And the atrocities were documented. There were still some of the children that were alive. that have been taken away from their from their children, from their, they had their children taken away from them because they wanted to, quote unquote, civilize them. We're going to make them civilized. We're going to teach them how to put on a shirt and a pair of pants and a pair of shoes. Um, that is so, so wrong in so many different ways. Hey, Mike, what are you drinking?
There is it's called Fit Vine. I think that's the name of it. I'll go get the bottle. It's wine and probably this story is a lot more interesting than the one that Ron's telling, because it's boring as shit.
Well,
and I'm Catholic.
As usual.
okay. But that's okay, because, it's going to tie into,
Something.
Yeah.
it's going to tie into the fact that
I'm about to freaking pass out.
There should be an apology that came from the Roman Catholic Church for all of the atrocities that they have performed on children all across the world.
Absolutely.
And the children of the indigenous people, have been telling their story for a while now, and nobody paid them any attention. So, some of these stories are very important to come forward with, because we don't ever want that part of our history to ever be erased, and the crimes and
what part? The part that
the church and Europeans have been brutalizing us under the auspices that they're going to make us civilized. Not just, not just black folks, but indigenous people. Indigenous people suffer just as much as black folks have.
Okay, now you know what?
Whose story is? So is it our story, or is it the indigenous people's story, or is it Canadian story, or is it an American story? Because there's all kinds of stories going on.
Well, they all tie together. Okay, and you're blurry right now.
You are blurry, but
okay.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, when you're up close.
Yeah, the further back you go, it blurs.
Yeah, when you go back, it gets blurry.
Yeah, because they had a blank check to abuse people and to abuse children, and the Catholic Church has, has been right alongside of many abusers. Okay, and under
you next to like R. Kelly?
They did the same things that R. Kelly did. Okay, pedophilia. I've always asked this question. The Catholic Church has been brutalizing children on every continent in the world, but yet not one government has ever kicked the Catholic Church off of their continent or out of their country or out of their, existence. A government agency has the power to be able to do that.
Well, let me ask you a question. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go right ahead.
Because you have a degree in theology. Put the two together, in reference to what people believe as far as something that is a part of God. And I think when you start talking about religion and the Catholic Church, I don't know of any other, what do you call the other religions, whether it's Baptist or whatever the case may be?
Protestant,
the Catholic seems to be in lead of all of that. Roman Catholic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Protestant, so on and so forth. So from a because now with you having a theological degree, that doesn't make you a theologian?
I've been called a lot of things,
We're sure.
So
I'm trying to stay serious because I thought a couple of things that he probably has been called.
But go to your point, okay?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out, in this, because you just said something that was paramount in reference to nobody attacking them, and my point is it fear? Because I don't know if there's any other religious status or branding like the Catholic Church that is as close to God as they are. And maybe it's fear. I'm just throwing this out here.
You mean because they're the original Christian religion?
Now that
Because
once again,
Saint-
Ron, is that true that the Catholic Church is the
Well,
original Christian religion?
Saint Peter was the Pope, was the first Pope.
Well, the key word in that is
First
religion.
Christian religion.
The key
Okay,
word
I like that better.
is
Didn't
religion.
I say that? Isn't that what I said?
I don't think so.
I think that's
Okay.
what
But
I
I'm
said.
65, so I don't remember a lot of stuff because I've been taking Benadryl. So if you just said that, I forgot just that quick.
So the key word in your question is religion. The Roman Catholic religion is a carryover from the Roman dynasty. Okay, the Roman dynasty, if you remember correctly, tried to conquer all of Europe.
Didn't I just tell you that I've been taking Benadryl and stuff that I don't remember correctly?
Well, I'm trying to help you.
Okay, thank you.
And so partnering up with various governmental entities, they established a partnership. Well, when you go in, we're going to come in with you and we're going to rape and pillage right alongside of you, for, of course, the Roman Catholic Church. So they conquered and, got riches that continent had to offer, and they stored up these riches that they have accumulated over the centuries. Now, the key word, like I said, is religion. All religions are man-made, okay? And it promotes man's greed. It has nothing to do with what God ordained to happen or should happen.
All of them?
Yes. And the reason
And what do you base that on?
If you shut up long enough, I'll tell you. Okay.
It's okay for me to ask a question, though. So
I'm gonna go there. Okay.
Well, then get to it then. And I haven't had anything to drink.
I know, we can tell.
That's the point.
Yeah,
Now, Ron, normally I take your side, but I think he's absolutely correct.
Okay. So if you are if you have any recollection of the Bible, you will remember that when Jesus came, he came to abolish religion. He attacked the religious orders of that day.
That's not the Bible that I remember, but go ahead.
Okay, well, it's the truth.
I
You
think
gotta
you're
read
wrong
it.
on that one.
No, I'm not wrong. Okay, Jesus went into the last week of his day on earth. He went into the church and he literally caused a riot.
Yeah, he was trying to basically clean up the Jewish church because it was
Okay.
pretty corrupt.
All
Like you're
right.
saying, you're right on that one.
Okay. All right. So he was not endorsing any religion, and he never has, because he came in to oppose religion and to clean up religion. Okay. Because religion had gotten out of control. Okay. So now, if Jesus himself never endorsed any religion, then religion was operating in error, and they had done a lot of things that was in opposition to the people. Okay. So now, when you look at how the Roman Catholic Church has literally oppressed people across the world, and they still oppress people across the world, because you have had priests in our era and our generation that have been accused of being pedophiles, that have slept with little boys in communities, and then all of a sudden they disappear and they're not able to be prosecuted because they're not even in this country anymore. They take them to Rome, hide them out, and then send them someplace else to victimize somebody else. It is literally their documented history. There are lawsuits right now going against the Roman Catholic Church for some of the damage that they have done in various places around the world.
But Ron, I believe respectfully, what we're all trying to get you to do is speed up the train.
Get to the point.
Because You
Well,
know,
you sent me down a different road. Okay, so I'm trying to clarify the question that you were asking,
well, take a
about.
Uber to the answer.
Okay. All right. So the bottom line is this: the modern day Roman Catholic Church has apologized over and over again for what they have been responsible to have done to lots of indigenous people, not just people in Americas.
Okay, but hold on. What do you think okay, you said they apologized, and I apologize for interrupting. Okay, so should it be verbal? Should it be a lawsuit? What should it be?
Well, in this particular case, they came forward and verbally apologized.
Is that good enough?
I would probably say no, because you still got a lot of damaged and hurt people that deserve more than just "I'm sorry."
So what can they do?
Well, I think that they need to have a commitment from one of the richest organizations on the planet and say, okay, well, we're going to give you X, Y, Z to help your nation or your indigenous people to try and achieve things within going forward.
Do
To
they have it in
restore.
proof?
Do they have what in proof?
Any of the accusations that have been made in reference to the things that they've done?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's Belinda calling, and I'm
Okay.
gonna have to go. And after
Bye.
I'm done, I will
Bye.
return.
You are kidding, right?
Look, you have any more questions in relationship to this
Oh, I
topic?
thought you was asking me, was I getting ready to go over here and eat Belinda? Okay, thank
No,
you.
no,
Because
no,
I
no,
didn't
no,
know
no,
if you
no.
were just. I
No,
was
no,
gonna
no.
say,
You're
don't-
gonna eat
don't-
whatever's beeping. Ain't no question.
But that's exactly what it is, and it's and that's Belinda beeping.
Okay. So any more questions on this topic?
Well, that's that. I'm going to leave it up to you guys, but I'm
Okay.
just hoping when we come back that
Something else will
we
be
have
on the
left
table.
Rome.
Yeah. All right.
But probably not.
Hey, you know what? The facts are the facts. This is something that happened in news on this week. And the atrocities have been documented, and they're there. And bring it up to say that there's a lot to unfold and to unwrap in this whole thing. And I hope that this is just a beginning of being able to bring some type of peace and justice towards the people that have been abused, you know like the people on the continent of Africa and other places where the Roman Catholic Church has gone in and wreaked havoc over 100 years or so. So throwing it back to you, Chris. They don't find this interesting, but I think it's more than just interesting. It's the beginning of the truth coming forward about
Well,
what has
you know what,
happened.
Ron, it's not that we don't find the topic interesting. We were just thinking that since you have a PhD in theology, that you were going to give us some very insightful take on it, or have a point to where you were going to say, okay, and this is how it should be, or something to add to the story, because we all saw it on the news. It was the top of the news for the past couple of days. We all knew that the Pope had come to Canada. We were just hoping that you were going to go make us go, wow.
Well,
We never thought about
what do
that.
you feel about it?
I don't. It was because it was just a fact. They came, they apologized, and the story was over. It was, to me,
Right.
there was no other side to it. I was hoping that you were going to give us something to really think about.
Well, other than pointing out the fact that they were wrong and they admitted that they were wrong, and then should it be over with? No, because there are apologies in a whole lot of other places, and I'm not going to say from a theologian standpoint that I don't have a heaven or a hell to put anybody in. So I'm not going to come forward and say, okay, yeah, from this is what should have happened. This is where it should be. I'm not going to beat them up from that perspective. They deserve to acknowledge all of the things that they have done and the atrocities that they have done throughout time. And they have gained great wealth from it. And should they share that wealth? In my opinion, they should.
Okay. Cool.
A watchman said accountability is important. Jesus finished the law, Old Testament. What do you say about spiritual gifts and Catholic religion? Did you guys check out 103.5 FM? Okay, he's going up that road. So depending on the level, because I don't like to turn the show into a spiritual, thing. I just wanted to talk about the topic, talk about, we're on a path where people are reaching out for forgiveness, meaning the Roman Catholic Church. And I think that just saying I'm sorry is not deep enough in response to what Buck just asked me. So go ahead, Chris.
All right, so let's pass the Buck. Buck, you have a topic? Present it, sir.
What's his name? Basketball player. Oh crap! I'm the one taking too many Benadryl. Charles Barkley. So Charles Barkley has some sort of offer on the table. I'm not a big sports fan. Big sports offer on the table from this Saudi Arabia-backed golf tournament. Live Live, I don't even know what it's called. But so he basically made a statement this week. And, and I don't respond to people's statements because a lot of times it's just publicity. But you know what? Charles is so interesting. He says what's on his mind, and he always says something that gets people talking. But he said something very interesting. He's like, all these people that are criticizing Saudi Arabia, because they catch a lot of hell for their civil rights or lack of civil rights. It's like China and a whole bunch of other countries. But Saudi Arabia, Charles said something that people did not like, and I thought it was interesting. He said, look who's talking about civil rights. America? It's like, damn. That sounds like he's got a point. All these people in America talking about how Saudi Arabia don't have a good record on civil rights. What about you, America? I was like, wow. Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. There is so much of that going around. This hypocrisy. We are some of the biggest hypocrites in the world, unfortunately. What's the phrase? He who is without sin. Anybody?
Cast the first stone.
Right, exactly. So I just thought it was poignant that he's Charles Barkley, of all people, to point out the hypocrisy in Americans criticizing Saudis. That's all I wanted. I just thought he was so it was so interesting that he pointed this out, that America's full of hypocrites. Because we all know America is full of hypocrites. That's all I wanted.
Absolutely. No,
hypocrisy.
Well, the whole thing about what Charles Barkley said, if you are a fan of the NBA or not, a lot of insiders, a lot of professionals have said that the inside the NBA, that airs on TNT during the time, hands down is one of the most prolific and funniest, entertaining pre and post game ever put on television. And so having said that, you see the dynamics of look at all the commercials that Charles Barkley is doing right now because of the popularity of him being on that show. Generational wise, a lot of people did not see him play. They know him more for his broadcast than more this time as an NBA player. That's how much he's been doing the whole booth thing for TNT. So he's absolutely correct when it comes to hypocrisy and people in America. See, everybody at times, not everybody, the people who are in a certain position of power want to have a revisionist history. They want to change what happened. So, for example, when I do stories about slavery, and I remember getting email from people, from particularly white people, oh, can you let it go? What do you mean let it go? You're the guys that put us in slavery, so how can we let it go?
That's what a white person would say, though.
Exactly, right. So it's like...
Only a white person. You ain't hear nobody black saying that.
No, not at all. And so the hypocrisy continues, and I think a lot of people have to realize that know your history. Make sure you take time out to look at alternative forms of information so that we can form an opinion, not just take one, go out into a plethora of informational type of things. So what going back to what Charles Barkley said about the Saudi Arabia situation, look, we don't have clean money here. We heard of money laundering. I mean, come on, man. So whose hands are clean? Nobody's. So let's call it for what it is. What Barkley said was correct. When it comes to hypocrisy, when it comes to our country, other countries, we can't say anything. But we do because, and they do too, because they have a front to put up and a mask to put up to say that we're this, that, and the third, when really they're not.
Hey, you know what? I was watching Grownish, okay, on Freeform. I was doing it actually to take TV clips to use in my my production work on the air on radio. But so I wouldn't have normally watched it, even though Yari, what's her name, is so damn beautiful. This is the star, the girl from Blackish. But it was funny. One of the kids on the show said it was just so funny. You know, it's comedy, so they're just being satirical, right? But she says, the internet is the greatest thing. We can get online and we can bash anybody or anything and say anything we want and have no repercussions. It's so easy.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? That is what it's turned into. It really has. And so that makes it easier for people to criticize Charles Barkley or Saudi Arabia or anybody they want, because all they got to do is just pick up their little phone and next thing you know, they made a statement. Whereas before it was a lot more difficult. So now it's so easy for everybody to be what they call an armchair critic.
Well, that always happens. Like, for example, you mentioned about the LIV. Now, I did do a little research. That is a reference to the Roman numeral for 54. And the score in every hole at a par 72 course were birdied and the number of holes to be played at LIV events. So LIV is the Roman numeral for 54. So this is where all this comes from, where people are being recruited by LIV, these players, these golf players. And in fact, there was an NBC golf analyst named Faraday. He just quit NBC to go work for them. So when you look at the dynamic, if it's more money, I mean, if you're going to be in a position to say, for example, okay, they're paying me this, can you match it?
Right.
And if they can't match it,
they can't.
Come on, man. You're
that long Saudi money. And
right.
That's why Charles Barkley's like, you know what? It's a whole lot of money, man.
Yeah.
I think it was like, what, $25 million for a year? I can't remember exactly how much, but it was an insane, insane amount of money. And, you know, even though Charles Barkley doesn't need the money, that's a lot of money to turn down, bro.
Exactly.
So they're Saudis. Well, they offered me money to go over there. I sweep toilets for $25 million a year.
Well, you look at like other situations where Al Michaels, the great football announcer, just recently left NBC. He hasn't retired. He's going over to Prime Video so he can start doing NFL games over there.
Wow.
And the same with Marv Albert with NBA. So they're getting bigger contracts, leaving NBC or TNT to go over there to help start up their sports broadcasting as well. So like anything else, if you're able to get a certain dollar amount, and once again, as a corrective form, go to the employer, hey, I've been offered this. Can you match it? I'm sorry, we can't. Then you just leave and you go about your business. And I think, once again, going back to the PGA, I think, again, are very hypocritical, because you can't hold on to a player or players to say, you know what, I want to get paid more money. There's nothing wrong with that. But see, then you want to bring in the whole Saudi Arabia and its dirty money, its oil money, and everything. When your hands are not clean themselves.
Right. Hypocrites.
Exactly.
Hypocrites. Oh, haters.
Question. Didn't they have a big hoopla about some of the American players that were under contract to, like, maybe the PGA, one of those, right, you know, and then they asked them to turn in their jackets or something like that because of the conflict with actually playing in one of those tournaments that they were offered to play in with that league?
I remember seeing a couple stories on ESPN, for example. So you're right. They're being challenged because, again, Look at all the years the PGA here in America had no competition whatsoever. None until this happened. So you're afraid, and you're afraid that pretty much your players who are currently playing at PGA are going to bolt and go somewhere else, and you might just start all over again from, say, whatever farm you want to create for up-and-coming players who play golf from college or anywhere else. So I think they're afraid more to not only the money, but competition for the first time in whenever.
Yeah, they stand to lose a lot of money.
Yes.
Imagine that. Oh, wow. But you know, though, competition is supposed to be good for everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I'm sure the PGA don't agree.
No, well, no, they
Oh, hell no.
No, they're about to lose out if they're not careful, and they can match the money. You only have a certain amount of players who really go above beyond and become their own thing, like a Tiger Woods and players like that. Even before Tiger, you had Jack Nicklaus and those guys who preceded the opportunity to not only play golf but become their own personality and their own brand and own bankroll outside of golf. So they're very special. But about the others who are just trying to capture and seize the day and make names for themselves, if a contract comes along, they can make more money. Come on, man, it's the obvious.
Yeah, you know, it's funny though. What they don't seem to realize is not always a zero-sum game, as we say in radio. So, like you work at a station, and another station comes on the air. You think, oh, they're going to take half our audience. And what it actually does a lot of times is generate more interest in listening to the radio, period.
That's
because
true.
now you got two stations that are trying harder, and time spent listening to both stations goes up, and both stations' ratings go up. It happens all the time. So, you know, with golf, another tournament, it may just make people more interested in the sport. Just like how Tiger Woods came along, people were kind of bored with it. Golf wasn't nearly as popular as it is now. It was like interest.
You turned the whole golf thing around. But golf was boring. You know, remember all the announcements would talk like this. He's at the 8th hole, and he's about, man, that was boring.
Boring. So Tiger Woods
But it was
came
about
along.
money. Now I'm gonna tell you, the whole thing is, it was kind of a marketing ploy. Okay, because remember, who were the sponsors? Cadillac, all the big auto brands, right? And it was always this, Buck is moving up on the 7th hole, and before you know it, he'll probably whip out his thing and let it go all the way into the final part of it. Now, all of that was there, but, you know, one of the things, if you ever knew people who play golf, they always gamble. That's one of the things that friends do who go golfing. They bet each other all the time. It's a betting sport.
I didn't know that. Wow. Okay.
Golf is a betting sport. But when you see it on television, it appears to be boring. And this guy, you know, I forgot the one CBS announcer. I mean, he's become the king of all golf announcing. But that whisper, as if he's right there and he's not going to disturb you from the putt. Yeah. Chris is about to get right up on it, and he's got his tongue hanging down to his chest hairs. Let's see what'll happen. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but you know,
It is.
But you know what's funny though?
I'm sorry, Jim Nance. You referred to
Jim Nance. Wow, boy, he is like, man, how much money does he make?
But isn't it interesting that golf didn't really get interesting until Tiger came along? And then tennis didn't really get interesting until the
Venus
Williams
and Serena.
Interesting. What do they have in common? Let's see. I mean,
Excitement.
Something maybe. Yeah. Why are people excited about them? What's so different about
It's
them?
generational. You know, that's the biggest part about it. It happened at the time that a generation was changing for golf. That a generation was changing, because the thing of it is, I remember working on several jobs, and people I were working with, I didn't play. As a matter of fact, you know, Valerie bought me some golf clubs, and I think I've only used it once. They're sitting in my garage. But once again, that was the new thing, to get your clubs. You go out, and I passed several when I'm out doing Uber and Lyft, you know, different golf courses and that kind of stuff, and there are women out there. There are, you know, guys. I mean, it's the whole new thing, you know, in reference to finding something to do. How do you hang out? especially with coworkers or friends, neighbors and this kind of stuff. We've had a generational shift that is paramount that we really don't give a lot of attention to. Seriously.
Oh, you're right.
And we got to really, really, that's what I'm saying. When it's time for me to go into my part, this thing is just really crazy. What we see on television is a change that I never thought I'd see, from an Ed Sullivan blocking Elvis from gyrating on stage. Only headshots of the Beatles. It was that kind of stuff. I mean, it was all about the little kids. You take a little kid and put on stage, and they would sing, and everybody's like, and that was popular. That was popular. But we've had a paradigm shift in what we look at and what we see that is tremendous. Kind of going back to, when Ron was talking about, and for anybody that's watching our show, all of us are friends. We all poke and jab at each other, so don't take it as serious or anything like that. But we do it to make each other better. That's the whole thing about Lee putting us together, is how do we make each other better? So sometimes we got to poke fun at each other and do things. And because I've heard let me tell you the first time I heard the word Catholic. So I went to an all boys Catholic high school, right?
Me too.
And so the bus that we would take us over to St. Teresa's, which was the all girls Catholic high school. So we had to wait about 20 or 30 minutes for them to get out. And there was this ice cream shop called Pirtles, right? And so all the tough kids would come and hang around Pirtles. And we didn't wear uniforms, but I mean, we didn't have on jeans and Nikes and that kind of stuff. And so the tough kids in the neighborhood would come and go, yeah. Y'all go to the Catholic. Yeah, y'all go to the Catholic school. And we didn't laugh at them until we got away from them, because we were scared to death that they was going to whoop our ass. Now, that's one thing I'm going to tell you about Ron. Ron definitely has thug tendencies. Now, the persona that he brings before us, he's quietly spoken and he does, that's some straight bullshit, okay? But I can't interrupt with what he wants to put before us because it's not my show, okay? But Ron knows I love him, and him and I talk about everything, but I'm just asking you don't fall for that bullshit, because that's why those little things pop out like Catholic. And what was the other thing he said?
Documentary.
That one.
Yeah, documentary. See,
as long as
those
it's
are the things that are leaking out that you don't know.
As long as it's documented. Okay.
Oh my God, that was a good one.
That was good.
But
No,
Ron
you know what, though,
kills
Mike?
me.
But you know what, Mike? What you were saying about how things have changed on TV, what's really having an effect, I think, now is the streaming services that don't have to abide by FCC rules.
They're king.
Not that there's any nudity, because most of them, completely shy away.
Well, it's
from
a lot
nudity.
of profanity.
But the profanity is like, it's to the point now where people don't even notice it. I'm just like, now, granted, in other countries, they say shit like it's a normal word. It's not, right. Shit is not a bad word in most countries anymore on TV.
Really?
Just
I
America.
didn't know that.
Yeah, you watch Canadian TV, European
they say shit
TV.
on TV?
It's not, it's not a bit. Bullshit is usually what they say more than anything else.
Real quick, what's up, Professor?
Oh my God, Professor in the house.
Hey.
Yeah. So, but I think the streaming services have kind of changed people, if nothing more than desensitized everybody to all the profanity and some of the more shocking things that you might see on TV.
Well, speaking of shocking things that you see on television, when I look at these two sophisticated thugs, Chris and Buck, Professor Reggie Miles and Ron, I mean, they're sophisticated thugs.
Are you? Is that what you are, Professor?
They are. They're sophisticated thugs.
Oh, you talking about me?
I'm talking about Professor Reggie Miles and Dr. Ron. AskDrRon.com.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Now, see the glasses, the bald head, the whole. Chris, what is with this? I mean, Buck, let me tell you something. These are, they're my heroes because they're sophisticated thugs.
Absolutely. I love that.
I know it. They it's just something about them. You can't get mad at them. You know, they're the ones that if they jabbed you, you would never know it. I mean, I never thought in my lifetime, I've seen this on television, but I never thought I'd be working with these two. And I figured it out one night, and I was gonna call you, Ron, because Ron and I, when we have ideas, we'll jump up and call each other. And I said, I got it. You and Professor Miles, you're sophisticated thugs. That's what you are. Because y'all smooth. Y'all smooth with it. See, Reggie dances his off. You know, he just dances his off. It's real smooth. He's dancing his off. And then Ron, see that look right there where he's biting the bottom lip? That's the most dangerous Ron ever. Chris, when he bites his bottom lip, that is the most, Professor Buck, that is the most, You better go hide somewhere. When he start biting the bottom lips, because sometimes, Buck, you be messing with him, and all of a sudden he go into this. And I'm like, come on, don't mess with my boy Buck. Don't do it. He'll go into that thing, and Professor, y'all got y'all sophisticated thugs. That's what you are. And I, you know, it's not for me to call you out. I mean, how y'all do it, it's like the master of disguises. What's that thing you say when you open up the show, Chris? The master of what?
Of intellectual chaos.
But see, actually what he's saying is the master of disguises. These two dudes right here, I went to school with Chicago cats. And it's been a long time, but these two right here, sophisticated thugs, dog. You don't want to meet these dudes in a dark alley. You don't want to turn around and say something to them and you ain't watching your back, because they would be the last ones that the police would ever believe as being suspect.
Okay, we're gonna have to stop you from talking right now because you might get us indicted on some stuff that
nobody will ever catch you and Professor Miles. Y'all are uncatchable. Cause you know what Professor gonna do? He gonna start that dancing. He gonna get in that dancing thing. He gonna dance you right out of his life. And Ron gonna talk you out of it. Man, Chris, Buck, I'm telling you, sophisticated thug. I never thought I'd be at this point in my life where and they on the same damn show.
Okay.
Oh, help. Yeah,
Right.
I would say both of them are professional, sophisticated skull thuggery.
Yes, man. And you'll never be able to pick it. You can't. See, R. Kelly should have came to them. And they don't even roll like that. Their thuggery is it's intellectual. See, that's the part that I like. That's where I'm a student, to the intellectual thuggery. But let me tell you something. These guys right here, dangerous. You know, you and I come into the game and, you know, Lee brought us in and we just trying to make all of this work and this kind of stuff. But these two dudes right here, I'm trying to tell you, I take notes. Especially with Professor, because Professor's smooth. Notice how he drop in on us on the show. Notice how he just kind of drops in. Like a Batman kind of drop in. He just drop in. Look at him. And he got that smile. That smile will melt anything. Butter, ice cream, coconut pie. Harmless. Yeah, there it is. Come on, Buck. That's it right there. You got it, Buck. Okay, all right. As long as you got it. That's it. Smooth. Them dudes right there, smooth, Buck. Chris, I'm going to throw it back to you before I come up missing.
Well, Buck, you had your hand up or your finger. Did you want to interject with something?
No,
or-
he was emulating Professor Miles. Oh, there it is. See, there it is.
And I wanted to say, so I guess you don't really want to do your topic.
Who?
You.
What topic?
About the things that changed in television.
But he ain't thrown it to me yet.
Oh, but you kind of had kind of segued into it. So
No, I did not. I'm respectful of the moderator.
I'm not mad at that. I just thought
Yeah, I'm respectful of the moderator. I don't take any control. Once he tells me it's my turn, it's my turn. Until then, I'm just about these jokes.
All right, Chris.
Well,
back to you.
Wait. Can I ask a question?
Okay.
Can I ask?
Respect the moderator.
Yeah, I just want to ask this before you parlay into something else. You all were talking about television networks and how things in networks have changed and cable has changed the game. On this week, I did hear something about Disney opening up their programming to R-rated shows. I mean,
that was a couple of months ago, but yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I think it
so elaborate on that a little bit. What did they say?
Yeah, they just saying that they were opening up their network to now doing R-rated shows.
Wow.
When they were programming originally was what all children's programming at one time, nothing but. But I think they started now wanting to open up other shows that are in their catalogs and bring them onto their network on a regular basis.
Well, because they had 4 shows that were on Netflix, and that contract expired, so they brought them over to Disney Plus because, of course, it's their show, and they were all R-rated shows. So they said, okay, they would make you, when you sign on to Disney Plus, they would say, okay, now you're about to watch some R-rated content on here, so you got to agree to not be offended by it, and so you just hit agree, and then And
what
so
made it R-rated? Was it language? Was it
language? A little sex. Not much, very little. Some cursing, because R rating. If you said the F word more than I think once, you get an R rating, and so
really,
yeah, that was kind of. I think that's how it works around there, or maybe.
I'm
PG-13.
surprised at Disney. I really don't see that. I've worked for Disney before. That doesn't sound like something they would acquiesce to.
Well, because they have different divisions though too. They have Marvel.
Oh, okay.
They have Marvel. They have National Geographic. They have a whole bunch of divisions.
Star Wars.
Star Wars. They're all on under the Disney umbrella, along with ABC and all of ABC's programming. Hey, listen. Well, I was saying earlier about how they can say shit freely on Freeform, which is, if I'm not mistaken, a Disney product. They say shit all the time, and this is on regular cable television.
Is shit really a bad word?
It's one of the 7 deadly words. That's the only reason why it's been banned by the FCC.
Oh, from what's his name?
George Carlin. Yeah,
George Carlin. Shit was one of the words.
And so, but so was piss.
Really pissed?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So it's kind of like that shit is so played out. Oh, that's it.
Oh, damn. No pun intended, right?
Yeah. Thanks, Chris, for letting me get that comment in. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. 7, you have the floor.
For the next 3 minutes.
Okay, thanks. One of the things, we talked about, I think, on this show before that, the first time that I saw something that I thought was questionable was a tampon commercial on television. And then a couple of months ago, they've been showing these pads, and they use a red dye to show you the exorbitancy of the pad. And I understand that. I get it, okay? The other day I'm watching, and a lot of this is on Sundance TV. I watch a lot of Sundance TV. They show Criminal Minds, Law and Order, Columbo, that kind of stuff. Because, television is crazy at this point. I don't know how to judge television. CNN is what it is. They all have a boring place in my life. So I've turned into this whole criminal kind of thing where I can just watch that over and over again. And so they broke into a commercial, and now they're showing women who are pooping on television. and they're saying they're pooping on television. And I'm thinking, where are we going? Even if I've had a guest at my home and she has the poop, I mean, that belongs in the closet, the water closet with her. I would never say, did you spray? Or did you wipe? You know, that wouldn't be a conversation, high eyebrow coming from the professor. Oh, boy.
Did you wipe?
Yeah, did you? I mean, I would even bring it up.
Did you wash your hands?
And, you know, and I'm going to tell you, one of the things that if you've ever been in a relationship and you've been, especially in an apartment, and you had a young lady visiting, have you ever heard her urinate?
I don't know if
I
I was
have.
listening.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I mean, you're going to hear it. She clearly heard you urinate. Okay. Now, the reason she would hear you urinate versus her is because you're further away from the water in the toilet bowl. She's sitting on the toilet, so the water, we're talking about what, like a third of a foot or something,
And
compared to a guy that's standing up
and her
and
legs
he's projecting into the toilet bowl.
and her legs and butt kind of insulate some of the sound coming out.
Yeah, it's condensed into the bowl of the toilet. That's not too much to talk about, is it, Professor? Okay, just asking for a friend. But, you know, now the commercials that women are pooping on television. Now, what I like about that is that women shouldn't own that. Everybody needs to shit.
I knew it.
What you mean, Professor, you do it? You saw it coming, didn't you?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Well, you and Ron are a bad influence on me. And Lee already knew that in the beginning. That's why he suckered me into being on there, because, you know, he knew that you guys were going to be like my godfather when he wasn't around. And the same thing for Buck. I mean, think about it. You know, a lot of people, as you get older or sick, you know why they're sick? Because they don't shit. And I hate to be so direct about this situation. You need a bowel movement every day.
3 times a day.
At least.
But you know what? You got to eat your veggies, eat your vegetables.
Come on, Buck, tell 'em.
Or drink. I don't eat vegetables. I drink V8 juice. A lot.
Okay,
of
that's fine. The same
it.
thing.
A lot of it. And see, what else do I do that helps me out?
Water.
I do something else. Water.
Do you
yeah,
drink
but,
water?
Yeah, but a lot of it. But there's something else. What else did I do?
Have you ever drank a gallon of water a day?
Yes, and I'm peeing constantly.
Oh my God, you're peeing like every 20 minutes.
Fiber gummies also helps.
Yeah, I got the fiber gummies. And the thing of it is, let me show you something. Just
and brown rice, black rice, which is my favorite.
I've never had
and,
black rice.
And red rice all will keep you regular.
I got a question.
Hold on to that question for a minute, because I want to show you something. You see this right here? This is a gallon of water.
Yeah, the same gallon you showed us last week.
Yeah, did I show this to you before?
Yes.
All right. Well, we get new audience every week. This right here, and during the week that I had COVID, I drank this whole thing every day.
And you
I'm
said that
telling
last
you,
week.
I was peeing. Oh, I must have peed 25 times, easy. And a bowel movement, was very easy. But let me tell you something. Every day I'm in the car doing Uber and Lyft. At some point, somebody in a conversation my age will come up. Nobody believes I'm 65 years old.
You look younger now than you did when you were 33.
Do you know why? Because I'm healthier. Thank you. And you say that all the time, and I appreciate that. You know, and that goes back to the whole point. Guys, I can't talk to the women about this. I'm talking to the guys. Guys, shit every day.
All right. On that note,
Please.
is it time for us to get out of here yet?
Was that where did that feedback come from?
My earphones.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. No, seriously.
Yeah.
You guys, if you wake up in the morning and you don't have a bowel movement, you should be afraid.
But you got to have the fiber to clean yourself out. If you don't take, if you're not taking the fiber, you're not gonna.
Yeah.
You're not gonna.
Well, I mean, you have to do it. It leads up to this.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's going to take a lot longer. That before I started doing a lot of fiber, I would go a couple of days without, doing number 2.
Which means that you full of shit.
I sure was. and you know what? It'll make you fatter. It'll make you like more bloated on the stomach. Listen, I had a girlfriend who she would go for days and days, and her
You should
stomach
have
would start
dropped her
getting
ass.
she was so fine. Her stomach started getting big, and she had double D's. Her stomach started getting big, and so eventually I gave her a what do you call those little chocolate X-Lax?
Penis?
X-Lax.
Oh.
And
okay,
the
sorry.
X-Lax, even though the X-Lax is harsh, she'd flush it all out.
But I'm gonna tell you something. The X-Lax is fine, but you really don't want to depend on that. It's going back to what you said, the fiber, Buck and Ron, Dr. Ron. The fiber is so important because see, you got to give it back. You can't take it out and don't give it back. Go ahead, Professor. What are you thinking?
Why are y'all talking shit?
I'm done. Good night, everybody.
Chris, you see how he brought that around? He couldn't hold it.
Couldn't hold it. See,
He couldn't hold it.
And look, I'm gonna make it even worse. I'm going to talk generational shit now. Okay.
you guys are so juvenile.
So now my question.
We didn't want to talk your shit.
So Ron, don't act like your shit don't stink.
Oh no, brother. Look, it's gonna do what it do.
Oh man, this ain't nothing but a bunch of shit.
Right. So back in the day. And Mike, I know you can relate, Professor, you can relate, but it was because you started out talking about women being heard to pee and all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
Back in the day, women would not pee or fart or poop anywhere around a man that they had interest in.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So, it was something like, man, Harry, I'm taking me home because I've been holding this since, 3:00 yesterday. They ain't going to do it.
They wouldn't do it.
They would not do it. So now fast forward to today, and I'm too old to understand, but, Chris and Buck Wheezy, are the women the same today as they was back then?
I don't know. I've been single for a while.
Are you celibate?
Yes.
So none of the girls that you've ever been around in modern day time, you don't know whether or not they would,
I don't know
fart,
what they're doing now.
Fart or
I can't remember what they did back then. I'm sure they did. I'm sure they let one out accidentally, at least.
So the hip hop women, they don't, because I know you make yourself very, familiar with that community. So because I wouldn't know.
Yeah, well, what do they call farts in hip hop?
Good question.
That is a great question. I mean, Buck, is there a term for farting and?
I don't talk to my hip hop friends about farting.
Cause
Can't say turd cutting.
oh yeah, okay. Cause I heard sex is smashing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a good thing. How has the words changed? I mean,
That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, well, we can hit it.
Yeah, well. Oh, you know what? For some reason I was thinking that it was. We still got another hour to go.
Yeah, I don't know what you were talking about.
You thought I came in after 9.
I don't have my glasses on. That was a problem.
You thought I came in after 9. That's what you did.
Yes.
Yeah, you
Hey,
thought
Buck,
I
let me
came
ask
in
Buck
after
a
9.
question. Buck, have you ever had sex with your glasses on?
That's an interesting question that I've never pondered.
Yeah, I mean, I just asked.
Probably
you
so.
know, for-
Probably so.
Yeah, well, sometimes no, I ain't gonna say it. I'm gonna just speak because
Go ahead, Professor.
Oh, I was getting ready. I was getting ready to shoot, man. You know, because sometimes you got to see the pussy.
That was vulgar.
Yeah, that was vulgar, Professor. There, you kind of overshot that a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
That was
but
vulgar.
look,
I'm
No, don't be
embarrassed.
sorry. Don't be
Ooh,
sorry.
wait.
I'm
All right.
embarrassed.
Don't be sorry. Hey, the truth is the light.
But going back to the topic at hand, you know, I think that we live in a society that says that we can be realistic about, you know, we try to have a lot of fun with you guys, and you know, we were pulling Ron's string earlier about getting a little boring, you know, with conversation. Because I don't believe that when people watch us or watch the show that they want to be bored out of their mind. I think that they expect us to take them to a level that helps them be able to open up, you know. And television has gotten to that point now where it's opening up in everything that you see. One of the things that I can't stand, why is everybody on TV commercials dancing? I mean, every TV commercial, young folks, old folks, middle folks. Go ahead, Professor.
look. You know, one of the responses to why TV is making such drastic changes is because, and we all know this, they've lost audiences.
Yeah.
They've lost audiences now because, you know, everything was network, right? Y'all remember, right? If we wanted to see Ed Sullivan, we had to be home at 7 o'clock, you know,
Right.
Central Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 Pacific Time, if you wanted to see the Sullivan show. But now we don't have to have rigid appointments like that.
Right.
You know, we don't have to make that like that. So TV, knowing this, they letting the free form of the internet try to seep up back with them. See, the only thing is that, you know, the public airways, terrestrial television, you know, that belongs to us. But nobody owns the internet because it's a bunch of machines. So therefore, you can't put any rules here.
And on a bunch of machines and phone lines.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing, Buck. You know, it's the same thing because they all have to be connected by some things, you know. But you know, that's why they can't legislate and say, you know, well, that's the airwaves. You know, Sir Tim Berners-Lee, when he created that code, when he created that World Wide Web code, that just opened up everything for everybody. That's why on the internet you can say George Carlin said 7 bad words. That's why on the internet I could be vulgar, you know, and things like that because nobody owns it. See, you can't do that on the terrestrial airwaves because those airwaves belong to us. That's why there is regulation. The internet cannot be regulated.
There actually is a country, I can't remember which one. There is a country that's trying to regulate the internet now. And I wish I could remember
Only thing they could do is turn it off. They can block the programming, but they can block
like China does. Like China does.
like China, Korea, and all those you know, because all those probably are the majority of the communist countries. They probably don't want to see or want their people to be exposed to the capitalist ideas. They probably don't want that.
Because
So
it spreads.
because they have a pipeline, you know, they have a pipe, you know, they filter what content that they want to see. And so when those young people and those students come over here, man, they're like more advanced in other things. See, like some of our students are more advanced in BS and other things because we allow all that stuff to occur. But when places where they don't allow that stuff, their students are markedly different.
Mhm.
You know, so
Yeah,
TV.
that's like countries like Russia. The government control programming. They only allow what their message that they want to put out to the
Absolutely.
people so that the people only have one opinion, and that's the one that they gave.
Absolutely. You know, when it comes to taking over a country, right? It's two things that the conqueror wants to take over: the women and the communications. You
Well,
know,
let me
You
ask you
meaning
a
like
question.
if a country gets invaded, you mean?
now if they get defeated, whatever it is, whoever wins, they're gonna take the communicate. They're gonna change the communication, get rid of the men, and take all the women. Go ahead.
But I got a question. Why were our parents so concerned that we knew that they had sexual intercourse?
Oh man, I guess I'm gonna be funny with this. I guess you have to take it back to them watching Ozzie and Harriet, because we never seen Ozzie and Harriet go to
Well,
the
Lucy
bedroom.
and Ricky, I mean,
Yeah,
separate beds. Dick Van Dyke and his wife, separate beds. Everything they showed us on
yeah, yeah, yeah.
television, okay, even though she ended up pregnant on an episode or they had children, they never wanted us to know that they had sexual intercourse.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, well, here's the question, and maybe I'm the only one who does this, but you ever been watching a show where they have two gay guys on and they start kissing and
I ain't
You
petting
see
and
it all the
that?
time now.
But
I ain't talking about that.
what I'm saying, I turn my head away. I don't want to see that. Why do I not want to see that? I don't know. But I don't mind. No, I don't want to see it. So I close my eyes or turn
Well,
away or fast forward or whatever.
Some things are still offensive to people. You know, when you look at it and you see it,
But is
even
sex
though
offensive?
I'm talking about two guys, or two women might be more erotic, but two guys there are still some things that are offensive to people. When you see it, it's like, ew, it's repulsive. Did I say it right, Buck? Repulsive.
Yeah, I mean, and that's probably why I
That's
did.
better than Catholic.
And
but
that's
yeah,
moving.
yeah.
That's moving into a crazy area called sexual ambiguity. That's where that's moving into. And
Mhm.
so the brothers and parents, and they have to be a little bit more vigilant.
But
You,
why, Professor, would we jump to that level of what Buck said about the guys kissing on TV and they're talking about the HIV drugs that they're taking, but we haven't, but we kind of just jumped over the parents. Our parents had sexual intercourse.
That's how we got here.
That's
yeah,
how we got here. Thank you.
yeah.
We have, but what's interesting is that it's America. I'm not going to say only America, but there are a lot of countries like in Europe, they don't have the same sexual hangups as we do. That's why I love European women. They get it in.
Well, and one of the reasons America established itself on being a country that regulates everything. Okay, they want to regulate the way you think, your sexuality.
Wait, Ron, now wait a minute. Oh, you talking about censor?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, because I said founded. Okay,
Mhm.
because in the beginning, the forefathers, they want to, even now, if you look at government and how they operate, they want to control everything. They're going to tell you that you can't have an abortion. They're going to tell you that you can't buy sex. They're going to tell you that it's against the law federally to buy marijuana. They're still trying to regulate and control. Now, last time I checked, there's a lot of grown people in America, and they should be able to make adult decisions for what goes on in their household, in their family, for their families. But the government says, oh no, we got to regulate people. I cannot understand for the life of me why it should be against the law to be able to buy a piece of coochie anywhere in America. Now
That
you
is
can buy,
odd. That is
you
very
can
odd.
go to Vegas and some parts of Las Vegas, if you go to the Bunny Ranch or what are some of those places where they have regulated it to where you can buy it there. Okay.
Well, that's actually inside outside the city limits of Vegas.
Right.
In Las
Exactly.
Vegas, Las Vegas is still illegal, but outside of Las Vegas and the
in
rest of
Nevada.
Nevada,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
Nevada.
how would you know when you're
I
inside
don't-
and outside of the city limits?
Well,
it's
because
a
they got
sign
hookers
that-
everywhere.
It's a sign that it's a sign that says leaving Las Vegas city limits.
Yeah, but I mean, but the point is, you know, the United States government says it's illegal for a grown
To-
man and a grown woman to purchase one another.
That I get tripped out on that. I just heard you, and we speaking about regulation on the one hand. You understand? But a lot of us, on this panel, we got displaced because of deregulation.
Mm-hmm.
The absence of regulation where they wanted to take it away. See, and it's amazing that they want to do it on people, but they don't want to do it on the businesses.
Mm-hmm.
On the one hand, they just like what you said, Ron. They said all them things that you're doing is fine, but yet and still they can do mergers. they can deregulate the ownership limits. They can go from the ownership of one AM and one FM to a person have to a company owning 8 or more in a particular area. And all this old kind of stuff. So when you talking about they want to regulate everything, they want to regulate everything but themselves.
Exactly. And the stuff that they regulate on us, they don't they don't hold up to that. Well, I'm a United States member of Congress. I can buy all the pussy I want. And they have parties with hookers and everything, smoke a
Do they?
cigar. Yeah, and then if you go to Mexico, you can buy all the coochie you want. And it's cheap.
It's illegal. It's legal in Mexico. I did not know that.
Yes, sir. You ain't
Like,
never
what do
heard
you
people?
call cheap? I mean, what kind of thing? I mean,
Well,
because I
because the
guess
American dollar is devalued.
Right.
Oh,
Really?
it's worth more over there. The peso.
I mean, I'm serious. I've never purchased sex,
But if you think about this for a second, if you're an American, they charge you what they would normally charge Americans, which is a whole lot more than they would charge a Mexican.
Well, the peso is
That's
less
where I
than
was
the
going
American.
right there.
Yeah. The peso is less than the American dollar.
Right, but I'm saying
So,
they just take advantage of Americans.
Yeah, they
which is
can.
everywhere. Yeah.
If you go over there and don't know no better. Like Tijuana used to be real big at one time as a destination spot. Now they have other resorts, Cancun, other places like that. But if
A destination spot for what?
For
Vacations
and
Okay.
sex trips. So like San Diego, you go across the border, you're in Tijuana. College kids used to go down there, get stupid drunk, and then they could buy sex, 2 or 3 girls at a time for less than $20 back in the day.
Well, damn.
Okay. All right. So, and then not have to worry about coming back to America because hotel might have been $20, for the night or something like that back in the day. So, and that's just across the southern border. Now in America, like you say, you got to go on the outer limits of Las Vegas, Nevada, in order to be able to buy it, and it ain't gonna be cheap because they know they're a hotspot, they're a destination. So you go to one of those ranches, you might spend $1,000 for one of those high-priced pieces of coochie down there.
Oh man, it's funny you say that. Me and my boy, we had never been to Las Vegas before, and we were in the cab. This is when I was, as a matter of fact, when I was working with you at BLS, Mike. We went to Vegas for the weekend, and he was kind of wild, and he said he asked the cab driver, "So, where can we get some prostitutes?" And he told us whatever, and he said, "Well, how much do they cost?" And the cab driver said, and this is back in the 90s. The cab driver said, "Well, I wouldn't want a prostitute if she was less than $2,000.
2,000 US?
Yes. And we looked at him like, is this white boy crazy? Yeah. So we didn't do that. But I mean, it was just kind of like $2,000. Really?
Well, y'all remember the story about Odom, Lamar Odom waking up in a whorehouse after he had spent, I think it was anywhere like close to $100,000. He fell asleep in there and ran up a tab.
Yeah.
You know, and I think at the time he was married to one of the Kardashians, I think.
Chloe.
Yeah,
Big Chloe. I love her.
And
He was married to Chloe?
yeah,
Wow, I didn't know that.
yeah, and I think he was right after he had finished playing, basketball, because I think he still had a few dollars left over, and then he went, because of his addictions, plural, he wound up broke, but going back to what we were originally talking about, regulations. They want to control what a grown person can and cannot do in the United States. And I got a problem with a government that's going to tell me how, when, where I can do things, and then law enforcement is going to enforce it to their discretion. Period. Like in Illinois, it is legal for recreational marijuana. If you cross the border, which is like 10 minutes away from my house, to Indiana, and you get caught with marijuana, you going to jail because it's not federally been legalized or decriminalized. It has not. Now you've got members of Congress that have invested into the marijuana industry, but yet they've gonna, make their money out of it and off of it, but yet they don't want to legalize it across the board for all United States to be able to take advantage of it.
What was the point here? We were on something good. What were we talking about? I can't remember.
It's all good, but
no, I really can't remember.
Yeah.
And before you checked in, Professor, Buck and I was giving Ron the business in reference to kind of boring us out with the Catholic Church and the things that were going on there. One of the things growing up Catholic, I've always thought that would be a remedy in this situation would be why, I understand why they don't want priests to have sexual intercourse. But if priests are desperate and they decide to take this intercourse with another man, would it have been simpler to let them have intercourse with a woman? Or, well, let me say, let them get married. And that's a theological kind of question. So, Ron, I'm going to refer that to you.
There's a reason why, because I think they had talked about that not long ago, about letting priests get married. And I think there was a reason why they said they shouldn't do that. I can't remember why.
And I don't either. And I think you're absolutely correct. So, Ron, let's go back to you where you can kind of bring us up to speed.
Well, like I told you before, our religion is man-made. The people that it chose to be a part of the Roman Catholic religion, they take a vow of abstinence, but it's not mandatory in any other religion, because it's trying to abstain from sex is actually going against the nature of that God gave us in the first place.
So why?
That's the religion choice. That's their choice. That's the rules and regulations that they made as a religion.
So could the Roman Catholic Church solve this problem?
Yes, they could.
Yeah. And I think that's the direction that Buck and I were hoping that you were going in, because the other one was boring us to death. So,
well, it's just like rules and regulations, just like, okay, you go into any church, they got rules and regulations, okay, that are laid down by whatever the founding fathers of that organization is. And they can adjust them accordingly. Like if they say, okay, we don't want to, like, I'll give you a perfect example. You have the Baptist organization at one point in time did not believe in the Holy Spirit or the Holy Ghost.
Right.
So then they had a splinter group that came along and said Baptist full gospel. Okay, or they believe in the Holy Spirit and the Holy Ghost, which is a splinter because they were all Baptists, Just like if you go down south and you have the missionary Baptists, which are, very close to, all white Baptists, which don't allow black folks to have a position within their organization. So they had their rules and regulations that their founding fathers laid down. But just like that founding fathers laid down whatever rules and regulations that particular religion was founded on, it can be changed. So yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Priests are not allowed to marry in the Catholic Church. It's not based on any kind of religious reason. It's just tradition, and the tradition is based upon them wanting the priest to emulate Jesus, who was not married.
Right, exactly.
That was the simple answer. Now, Ron, you want to talk about it for another 30 minutes and to get around to that? That's cool. But that's basically
just the way I talk.
It is.
I can't change the way I talk. I'm trying to give you as much detail to give you as much detail about the subject as possible. And I was trying to make it.
When we talking about fixing, that's what I think where Buck is going, Ron, because that's more of what we were expecting. Because you eloquently explained what the situation was, but we all know that. What is the resolve? That's where Buck and I was coming from. Can we get to the resolve? Because I grew up Catholic. 5 days after I was born, my parents brought me to St. Louis and I was baptized. So once again, we're saying, okay, this power that the Roman Catholic Church has over finances and people and the religion and everything, and we respect it because it comes from God. We're not disrespecting it. But the fact of the matter is, if you wanted to fix the dang problem, instead of them running up in little boys,
let them marry so they get their rocks off. And they could do it. What I just read said they could do it anytime they wanted to, but they just choose not to.
That's all we were saying, Ron.
Okay.
And Chris, I don't think it's fair that you let the professor sneak out when we're having this conversation. He needs to be penalized with some kind of like $5 fine or something.
Look, I'm the moderator.
I knew that'd make you come back.
Yeah. I know. No, I just sit back and listen and try to navigate as much as I can, but it's
charge
not easy.
him $5 for checking out when we talking about sexual intercourse.
Yeah, he was over there smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, he over there doing something sneaky, and we sitting here putting out this. See, there he go again.
See.
Man, I ain't gonna be talking about no sexual.
Chris, the moderator, he decides what topics you talk about. You don't just come on this show and decide what you gonna talk about. Did you talk to Chris?
Hey man, no, I didn't say nothing. But when Buck said nothing, I don't want to be vulgar. I'm gonna be cool.
Thank you. That's so sweet of you.
That is sweet. That is nice.
Ooh wee. During this conversation, it has been a theme of hypocrisy. Whatever we talked about just now goes into my topic about hypocrisy and also dealing with duality. Now, days after voting against legislation last week that would protect marriage equality, Representative Glenn Thompson, Republican from Pennsylvania, attended his son's wedding to another man. Congressman and Mrs. Thompson were thrilled to attend and celebrate their son's marriage on Friday night as he begins this new chapter in his life. This was an email from their press secretary, Madison Stone. The Thompsons are very happy to welcome their new son-in-law into their family. Now, Thompson was among 157 Republicans in the House who opposed the Respect for Marriage Act, which enacted would repeat the Clinton-era Defense of Marriage Act requires states to recognize same-sex marriages performed in other states and provide additional federal protections for same-sex and interracial couples. It's amazing to me how people can walk a path they create and house two personalities. First, as a Republican, going back to Representative Thompson, to be a part of opposing gay marriage, yet your son is gay and got married this past last Friday, but that's okay and you embrace it. How can the mind embrace these two personalities? Well, first of all, you ignore one and do the other. As we all know, we walk out in public. A lot of us do wear a mask to become other people, other things. We won't get to know the real us. And the more I thought about it, I looked into some research between examples of fiction and nonfiction when it comes to duality. First off, Roy Cohn. Now, Roy Cohn was a lawyer / prosecutor who came to prominence for his role in the Joseph McCarthy counseling during the McCarthy hearings in 1954, when he was assisted to McCarthy's investigation of suspected communist. Cohn also represented and mentored then real estate developer in New York, Donald Trump. Cohn once said that homosexual teachers are a grave threat to our children. Roy Cohn himself was a homosexual who died of AIDS in 1986. And you notice how people over the years do the most barking, got the most bones in the closet, like Eddie, the Eddie Murphy joke. You open your mouth, bones come out. That's usually what happens when people do the most barking. Also, from a fictional point of view, look at Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, written by Robert Louis Stevenson. And you've seen it in movies, and you've seen it even in Incredible Hulk and things like that, where the mind is trying to house two different personalities. Which one becomes more dominant? So in the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, when he created the elixir, when he created that type of thing, he wanted to become Edward Hyde completely, to the point in the storyline, he was going to drink all the elixir and not be Dr. Jekyll, become Hyde all the way, which of course the evil that was brought out in him. Also, Batman Forever, that came out in 1995, was the god-awful Batman movie that was disgusting to watch. Now,
which one was that? Was that the one with Mr. Freeze?
Yeah, this was Val Kilmer, just before that.
Oh.
Now, the only interesting thing to me was duality. It was a god-awful movie, but it dealt with duality. It dealt with, of course, Batman Bruce Wayne, Robin Dick Grayson, Two-Face Harvey Dent, the Riddler Edward Nygma. So again, this duality thing, whether you embrace it or not, how can the mind have these two personalities and two streams of thoughts? This musical intellectual thing I came across, Genesis, had a song out back in the day, Jesus Knows Me. And it was their take on televangelists on television preaching and saying one thing and doing another. So the chorus goes like this: Jesus loves me and he knows I'm right. I've been talking to Jesus all my life. And another part of the song that tickles me is when he says the following: I believe in family with my ever-loving wife by my side. She doesn't know about my girlfriend or the man I met last night. Again, duality. If you watch the video of this, you see, for example, Genesis, with the polyester suits on, and they're having a good time on television, and they're nice and proper. Then they show them with all these scantily clad girlfriends and bikinis and, pool parties. And one line that Phil Collins says in the video and song, do as I say, don't do as I do. Again, all of this hypocrisy. Now, when you look at from what people do, I think we're all hypocrites to a degree. It goes back to the tier of the whole thing. Which one do you embrace? Do you embrace this mentality or that mentality? You get with this, you can get with that. So it's a matter of, in this particular situation, being hypocritical, going back to Representative Thompson, to say that I don't want no equality when it comes to same-sex marriages, yet I'm all for the fact that my gay son just got married to a man last week. To walk in hypocrisy is the fact that people can. It's the saddest of a situation when you vote for people who are supposed to be like-minded. When they get into office, they get into government, look after your best interest. But we all know the best interest is not for us, the best interest for themselves.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different conversation, but it all ties into the fact that duality can sometimes be very, very dangerous.
We all sinners, baby. We're all sinners.
Yeah, but who's going to admit that?
Everybody.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem admitting it.
Everybody's a sinner.
Because
Everybody.
if I put that on the table of being in the church, Jesus wouldn't be real to me, because I have to be sinning so he can have something to fix. I have, that's what Jesus comes for, to fix me, to tell me to get away from all that sinning and stuff. Because when you have that experience, then you start living a changed life. But man, this stuff, this sexual ambiguity, man, that's something that has to be put on the table and has to be looked at. Cause that's what you say, that hypocrisy with that senator, with
Hmm.
what they doing, and it's that stuff we have to look at that as a people. We have to look at that and talk about that and work it out. Because you get them cats can't say, well, I don't. You can't be a politician and talk about, well, I'm not going to be dealing with the gays and all that kind of stuff, because gay people vote,
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
they don't be playing
And
when they.
got money too.
Yeah,
And yeah,
and
and they don't
influence.
be. That's right.
Yes.
That's right, and that kind of thing that I'm even witnessing that in the dance community, because yeah, people under the alternate lifestyle, they want to have their say now, and they want to be present out there. But I'm not sure if I'm going to ever be cool with being at a set seeing two dudes slow dancing. I don't know how cool I would be with
Well, but what's interesting? Just for me personally, I don't want to see it, but I don't have a problem with it. But not the dancing. Dancing is one thing.
You
Kissing.
don't think that's conflicting?
I haven't decided. I mean, okay, the dancing part, because girls dance together all the time. To me, that's not as big of a deal. But
and
the
see,
kiss, the
that's
kissing,
the first crack in the armor. That's the first crack.
well, maybe, but I'm saying the kissing and all that. I mean, I just don't want to see it. But I'm not saying that it's wrong or that I don't think it should exist. Because honestly, I don't have an opinion on that. It's just not. It's none of my business. I
Well,
know that I like women, and that's all I like, and that men don't do anything for me. They don't turn me on. So that's just me. But I'm not going to look down on somebody else because that's what their preference is. But I don't necessarily want to see it myself with my own eyes. So
Is
can't
that
help it.
considered bigotry?
I don't know. I don't think it is. I just don't want to see it.
You can't
Now,
help it. You can't help it now, because it seems like that type of lifestyle now is what helps to make the ratings.
that is true. But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that it shouldn't be on TV. When I say I don't want to see it, all that means is that I'll change the channel or I'll fast forward because I don't.
Or
want
would
to
you
be
leave
live.
the atmosphere? If you were in a club and you start seeing guys dancing together, would you leave?
No, I've been to a gay club before.
Oh man, I'm out of
No,
there.
no. Well, and the reason I went, the only reason I went in that, it was that one time I had a roommate. This is back in the day, of course. I had a female roommate, and she was like, "Hey, Buck, will you go to the club, the gay club with me?" I was like, "Oh, hell no!" And she was like, "Have you ever wanted to be with two women?" I said, "Of course." She said, "What do you think you're going to meet those kind of women?" I said, "Let's go." And I went, and within 2-3 minutes of us walking in the door, mind you, she's a very attractive woman. 2 or 3 minutes, I look around, I don't see her anywhere. Then I catch her in the corner. She's already slobbing down the hottest woman in the club. I was like, well, damn, she was right. But yeah, but in terms of the guys, I just didn't look. And she said, and largely because she said, if you don't want the guys to talk to you, and I don't, because I asked, I'm like, well, what if a guy tries to talk to me? She says, just don't give me the eye contact and they'll leave you alone. And she was absolutely right. So
Yeah.
so if there was a guy kissing or dancing or whatever, I just look away. I look at the girls. Because when I go to a club, I don't even see the guys anyway. Like, you ever walk to a club, and if you guys can remember this far back, you walk into a club
and there's a whole. You're looking around. There's a whole bunch of men in there. You don't even notice the men. This is for me.
Well,
I look for the women. If there ain't no fine women in there, I said I ain't, because this actually happened. I'm like, ain't no fine women in here. And then one of the boys I was with, he's like, there's too many hard legs.
couple of
I was like, I didn't even notice. I mean, I didn't even see the guys. I see right them. They're invisible to me.
couple of stories. Okay, so
Uh-oh.
back in the day, so I call myself, me and my friends, we're gonna get together, and we were doing what we were doing, and so we were on the south side, clubs on the south side,
Chicago.
yeah, and so we decided we gonna go up north, and this is the first time and the last time that I had ever went into a club like that. Okay, I went into this club, and I called myself going in there looking for some fresh meat. I walked in the door, and I was the fresh meat. And
That's funny.
and so I didn't even turn around. You know how when you take the movie camera and you reverse it and people just go backwards the way they came in? That's how I walked out that place. I didn't even want my money back. I wasn't gonna turn around. I got up out of there. All me and my partners, everybody, because we thought we was going somewhere, and that was the first time I had went into that type of club, and the last time. Now, I don't have anything against that. All I know is that wasn't for me.
That's cool, right?
That experience wasn't for me. And like, in the community, in the partner dance community now, like you see that a lot with the ladies. And and it's amazing that there are some ladies that will slow dance with each other faster than some men will ask the women to slow dance.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we call it walking, and I'm like amazed with that. But that's again, that's their move in trying to come in and integrate themselves in this place or become a part of it or whatever it is, because you can't hardly say anything about, you can't be specific about, well, everything is supposed to be heterosexual, everybody. You can't say all of that stuff now because, the laws are against that. You have to be all inclusive and all that stuff with everything. So as long as you doing what you doing and then it's not bothering me, I'm not gonna say nothing to you, and I'm not gonna have any judgment on what you do. But just, man, don't even think about it, because I just like you said, I'm not gonna, if cat look, I'm gonna turn my head right away, because dude, don't even think about it.
But
But
Professor, let me ask you a question right quick. But for women, it's a security thing. If it's just like if you're sitting there, let's say you and your girl, and I'm sitting there with my girl, the woman will say, "Girl, let's go to the bathroom together," and nobody thinks even twice about it. But if I asked you, I was like, "Yo, Ron, what's up, nigga, man? Let's go on over here to," dude, it would be out of place.
right. Those are things that you don't say. That's like the things we did with Abe and the 7 things you don't say to a guy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you can't
You're
be talking
never
to a
gonna-
guy. You can't be talking to a guy on the phone at the end of the conversation. All right, I'll talk to you later. All right, bye bye. Can't say that. Can't say bye bye to a guy.
So I mean, because I have seen situations where women have been in same-sex relationships, and the partner is with another man, is with the man, and the one of the partners gets irate and makes the other one, and that partner is with somebody, she'll leave that partner and then just to get with her main partner and main piece. And I had a guy, and this guy was a friend. I didn't have the guy, but he was my friend, and he was like uh well established. But he was going with this dime piece. He was messing around with this dime piece who was in a lesbian affair. And when her lover came in there, man, she had to go with the lover. And then my boy, he shrunk down. He was like embarrassed, because he was like one of the one of the top dog men out there. And so it was like, oh man, you can't say nothing. You let another woman take your woman. You know,
You a bitch.
yeah. But now see, you can say that, but I've seen that.
I'm kidding.
I've seen that before. And then with all that stuff that's on television now, you know, see, we had Ozzy and Harriet, my three sons, and the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah.
We didn't have that
Ricky and Lucy.
Yeah. Right. And so the quickest part of perversion that we got was when they was talking about free love and the hippies. You know, that's what we got. But now that's like Sly and the Family Stones thing. That's like everyday people. Now it's just, you know, it's just there. And so the thing is being able to put it in the right perspective.
Right.
Okay. So I have to talk. I see this, you know, with a lot of young people, and I don't want to be with no man because he's such and such and such and such, and I don't want to be with no because he's such and such and such and such, and tell that particular person that they dealing with hurt them. And then I say, what's the difference from one hurt to another? You know, a hurt is a hurt.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, hurt is hurt. So don't, you know, be careful on who you choosing to hurt you. And don't hate the whole, you know, the generation, the whole group of them because you made a bad choice. See, we all make bad choices, and we all make bad choices in the people we select to be with us. Nobody is exempt from making a bad choice. No one. And not everyone that we're going to deal with is going to really be for us. And sometimes in life, those bad experiences are what help you to become a better person.
Right. Grow.
It's the support that you have around you that helps you to get out of it. Now, you can't be caught up in no situation where you are continuing to do the same thing. You know that Einstein insanity definition. You know, you doing the same thing, expecting different results. No, that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. But the toleration and the level of love that we must have, that has to be consistent. And so for me, God hates the sin, but not the sinner.
Yeah, I go along with that. Amen. You know, it's funny. Real quick, I'm reminiscing, working at a radio station, and one of my former coworkers, who was the first lady that was openly gay. I remember we're sitting in the meeting, and she's sitting next to me, and I'm looking, and and we're going through the meeting, and an hour was up, and then one of the coworkers came up and said, "Man, she looks good." And my friend was like, "Yeah, she sure does." I was like, "Oh, okay. I didn't know you was, like that." So we would have jokes back and forth if women came through. "Oh, I can pull that." "Oh, no, you can't. I can pull that." So we go back and forth. And she was just a good person. But remember the serious conversation we were having in the radio station in the studio. It's like, "Bass, man, I want to settle down. I'm tired of being alone. I want to share my life with somebody," and things of that nature. And I remember having those conversations with her a lot because I was about to get married myself. These were in the 90s, mid to 90s going to 2000. I was like, man, I'm going to settle down and get married. I said, wish I could settle down and get married. So when you have conversations like that, I remember one of her, she was there for like 4 years. One of her last weeks, she actually met someone in that timeline, brought to the radio station, and she was very happy. I was so happy for her because you can tell in past conversations how her heart would break and, being alone and wanting to share a life with somebody. So after that, we lost touch. But in that moment in time, she was very, very happy. So my point in all this is that when you take away the labels or sexuality, we're human.
Right.
And the human being wants what the human being wants. The heart knows what the heart wants to have. So just the fact that you have people going back to Representative Thompson who can, in one breath, go against same-sex marriage, and your son is gay and got married, again, it's mind-blowing how you can house those two type of schools of thought. And most moral people who shout the most about morals and this, that, and the third, you should be doing this, once again, they doing the most dirt behind closed doors.
That's right. That's them political moves, man. That's those political barriers that they putting up. See, because And then we got to get wise, you know, and just be able to see that. But a lot of times they play on them emotions and that fear.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep running that fear on us. That's when some people just start believing anything. But you know, Cameo made a song about that. They say, "Hey, you just talking out the
Like the
side
side
of
of
your
your
neck."
neck. Woo! That's right.
But if y'all remember earlier in the conversation, we were talking about how the government wants to regulate us based off of what they say should be what's best for us in the world or in a community or in our household. But yet in their household, they're grown enough to make decisions what's best for them and their family.
You talking about the FCC?
No, no, no. I'm talking about like what Chris was talking about, you know, the
Oh, just
congressman.
lawmakers in general.
Yeah, lawmakers in general. You know, he had his day job predicts that he has to come against gay relationships. But yet in his personal life, his family, his son is gay and got married. So, you know, it's okay for him to act like an adult in his personal life and support his son. But as in his day job, he's got to say, like, oh no, I can't support that. This is the Republican way, you
But
know.
then you also never know what's going on behind closed doors. Behind closed doors, he may admonish his son for being gay and talk crap about him and make him and belittle him. But I mean, publicly he went to the wedding, but I mean behind closed doors, he might can't stand his son. A lot of fathers and sons don't get along, so we really don't know about somebody's personal life or whatever. But you know,
Well, we do know
only know what
about
we see.
what his day job says he got to do. I'm a
Right, but I'm
Republican.
saying
Yeah,
those may be more in line. His day job
yeah.
and his real personal beliefs may be more in line than what he shows publicly when he's supporting his son. Because, like I said, he may not support his son behind closed doors at all.
You know, politically, I mean, politically, it's their job for the politicians to lie to us. They got to keep lying to us because there's no way that they ever want the masses to find a common ground, because half of them, or probably all of them, will lose their jobs. You understand? Once we get enlightened about what they are really doing to us, you know.
Yeah, but then you know what though, that doesn't take into account one thing that is very strong in this country, and that is apathy. So even if people know what's going on nowadays, and I think it's gotten worse as time has gone on, where people just like, yeah, well, what are you gonna do? And listen, a part of the reason is I think they're focused on the screens. They're sitting up there just texting
Well,
and watching stuff on their phones, and really just not even don't even care about what's really happening in the world, things that could affect them because they got blinders on.
Well, the elites they're feeding the masses to produce that apathy. They know what they're doing. It's like they know exactly what they're doing. It could be drops that they put in the water, anything to divide us. They'll use us, because if we come together, they know that's the end of them. That's why they have the electoral college.
Or it may just be, just my personal opinion, it may just be everybody's attention span getting shorter and shorter because there's so many distractions in the world.
I
And that's
think
just unfortunate.
I mean, I agree with that too, but couldn't we be told by that? Couldn't that be told to us?
No,
See,
it's just given to it. It's when you're given a bunch of choices, it's like sometimes you don't know how to make up your mind. If we didn't have that many choices, let me think about it. 40 years ago, there weren't that many choices.
and so when we're set with, or when they present all these different choices, and then when there is a voice that could say, well, dude, you don't really need that voice. You don't really need all those choices, rather. I'm sorry. You don't really need those choices. Then the argument is going to come out. And once that argument comes out, they know that they still maintaining control. because the whole thing is to keep us divided, never to bring us. When they keep throwing that individuality, oh well, no, I need to do this and I need to do that, and we never get presented with a collective medium when they do everything collectively.
Yeah. See, I just happen to believe in more of a theory of chaos, how those societies descending into chaos rather than there being some sort of mastermind behind or some grand plan behind it. I think and that's just how the universe tends to. What do they call it?
Who's
Entropy.
running the chaos, though?
But I'm saying that's the law of entropy. Everything descends into chaos. That's the law of the universe.
But do
Okay,
you guys understand you're saying the same thing?
right.
Let's wrap it up and give it to Chris and call it the European chaos. It's the
right.
European chaos. It's to get
Okay.
us confused at what's going on. While they're sitting here and they're getting married and they're taking positions and they're running their businesses, we're sitting over here in a tailspin. You guys are basically saying the same thing, which is actually great.
I don't see it that way, but I mean, okay.
Well, I'm on the outside looking in. And
I'm about
I'm
to say
listening
maybe
to
I'll
you.
watch it back and I'll watch it and be like, oh, Mike was right.
No, and I'm serious. I think and that's what popped in my head when I'm listening to both of you guys. It's the European chaos. They're working it on us, dog.
Some people don't necessarily, disagree or fall into disagreement based on the content of what they're saying. They just see oh, that's Buck Wild. I'm gonna disagree with everything he said.
Right.
That's just
Like Ron.
but that's just the way it is. But that's how we are controlled.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point. That's how we're controlled. Because if they keep our opinions divided, they move forward and we stay divided.
And we stay in
You
the
guys
same place.
basically said the same damn thing,
Divide and
but
conquer.
you said it in your own mind. Go ahead, Chris.
No, you're right. Divide and conquer. That's exactly what happens. You have been connected to SNN, Street News Now, 6 Guys and You. We do this every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific time. Make sure you go to the YouTube channel, SNN, Street News Now, to subscribe, like, and share. Doc, let me clear my throat. For Dr. Ron Ford, for 7, for Professor Reggie Miles, for Buck Wheezy, and our fearless leader, Lee Michaels, I'm Chris Bass. Continue to be peaceful, and Professor, give us a very heartfelt good night.
Good night.